Hi guys, in this video I wanted to talk about the subconscious mind, and I've got a picture here with the typical depiction of the subconscious mind being the iceberg, okay? And we can see that the iceberg is protruding out of the top of the water, but the vast majority of the iceberg is underneath the water. So why is that the image of the subconscious mind, okay? Because its depiction of the concept of the subconscious mind is very useful, because what's below the surface is subconscious, okay, obviously, and what is above the surface is conscious. But also beyond that, of course, that means we don't know what's in the subconscious mind. Okay, so this is why it's under the water, obviously, because it's just so dark and murky down there. We don't know what it is, you know. So let's look at the conscious mind first. Okay, so the conscious mind, obviously, the first one there is logical. Okay, so we know what that's like because we are logical all the time. We go, if I do this, this is going to happen. You know, we look at things in a very dry way. We look at reality as set. You know, if I hit myself in the head, my head is going to hurt. That's obvious. Okay, most of these things are obvious, but it's only when we start to delve into other things that things become a little bit more lucid. Okay, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. So conscious mind, logical. We look at things and we go, this causes this, that causes that. I get it. Okay, thinking. And you know when you are thinking, because if you have a headache, the last thing you want to do is think. And you have a headache and you go, oh, I can't do this. I don't want to do it. You know, someone says, can you tell me about this bank statement? What does this say? Oh, I don't want to think about it. I can't do it. But then someone gives you a video game to play and you got a headache and you're like, oh, okay, I can do this, no problem. You're nice, relaxed on the couch. Or if you've got a movie to watch, I can watch a movie when I've got a headache. Why is that? Because when you're playing a video game or when you're watching a movie, you don't really have to use your brain. It's kind of like your enjoyment, you know? You're just like, ooh, I'm following my heart in a way, because it's enjoyable to go along that experience. But if you've got to really think and do something that requires your brain activity, it's hard. You know, you're like, oh, I can't concentrate on this, really try to think about it. You know, it's hard, and you've got to use your brain. And so this thinking is an effort. Okay. Otherwise, when we're watching a movie, we actually do go into a bit of a subconscious state, you know, of just like really just kind of taking it in without critically thinking so much. When we get really involved in the movie, that's why we enjoy a movie, because we allow that critical mind to go. But when we're critically thinking about things, you know, it is very deliberate, and it's just all the conscious mind. But it's actually very, very small, this ability to be able to think about things. Most of the time, we don't know what we're talking about. We don't understand anything. Someone says, who are you? And you go, okay, my name's Chris, and this is my job, and I have this family, and you know, you try to rattle off a few things to try to figure out who you are, but you don't really know anything. You know, if somebody says, you know, how do you do this? I don't know. The only thing that would tell you is the experience that you've gathered that's residing in the subconscious. Otherwise, consciously, you don't know anything. You're just like, I don't know. So the conscious mind is also very deliberate. Okay, so again, we're in there. The mind is there. We can feel ourselves being aware. Okay, so we go, okay, it's deliberate. Okay, do you want to have ham on your sandwich? Yes, I do. Okay, so that's deliberate. You make a decision there. Okay, waking, obviously. Okay, so this is when we're awake. When we sleep, we wake up in the morning, we go, oh, I'm back. Where was I for 8 hours? Okay, you were in the subconscious. But then you're awake again and you're in the conscious mind. It's like, okay, I'm back. And then there's sometimes that feeling when you're waking up of like, oh, I actually feel, you know, like a bit of a drain to be waking up. Now I've got to go to work and I've got to do a bunch of things. It's like waking with your conscious mind is an effort. Again, conscious mind, very logical. Logical is effort. You know, logical is very much an effort thing. Okay? Limited focus. Again, you can think about a few things, but it can be difficult to, if somebody tells you 500 different numbers and you have to remember them, it's very difficult to remember. We can actually only remember, you know, like a couple of blocks of information. Really not much at all. Okay, when you consider the difference of what the mind can actually understand. Okay, and asks why. We're always asking why because we don't know anything. Okay, so we say, well, why did that happen? You know, why does that not work? Or what did I do here? How come this fell off? Why did that happen? So we're always asking why because consciously we're in the dark. We really don't know what's going on. We think we have a confident idea of how things are going and how, oh yeah, I did this, so that happened, and yeah, great, it's all working, yeah, because I've got things under control. You can put your hand behind your back. I've got things under control. But realistically, we've got no idea. Nobody's got any idea. We're just like, oh, okay, somehow things are working for me. We try our best, deliberately to make things work, but we don't really understand what's going on with life. Okay, so that's the conscious mind, okay? And this is where most of us believe all of our decision making in life is coming from, is these little things that we do throughout the day that help us do these little physical things that are going to make us get to where we want in life. Okay, but then we come to the subconscious, and then we've got things like intuitive. Okay, so intuitive, what is that? Okay, that's when you are doing things and you get that little nudge in your chest or in your gut, or a kind of a knowing where you're like, I think I should do something here, where you get an impulse to do something. Oh, I need to do this. I've had that many, many times where I'm like, I'm forgetting something, and then, oh, I need to remember to do that. And then I do it, and I find that I've done it just at the right time. Things where if I had done it any later, it wouldn't have worked out. And I even had a situation with my cousin many, many years ago where my mother tells the story, because I didn't hear it firsthand, where he had a problem with his stomach, his digestion. And his father, my uncle, had a kind of moment where he's like, I need to call him. Tried to call him. His phone was disconnected because he didn't have any money. His phone got disconnected, basically. And so he's like, I think I need to go see him. And he drove like 45 minutes to go see his son. And he walks in and finds out that he's on the floor in agony because his stomach had, his digestion system had burst somehow. And he ended up having to go to hospital and getting a colostomy bag for 6 months. So it was like his whole, that was all just intuitive. And we know this is true because we've seen those sorts of things many, many times where people have had premonitions and things like that of things they needed to do. So we all have that intuitive ability, but most of the time, this logical, rational brain, which is the conscious mind, just kind of cuts it all out. And says, no, I'm in charge. I know what to do. But again, the conscious mind doesn't know anything. It's like having a, this little little chess piece going, I'm going to destroy the whole board. And then, you take a further step back and you realize, you've got this whole chess set that is backing this one little pawn up, but the pawn thinks it's in charge. It's not. Okay, so that's how the conscious mind is. Because the subconscious has got all this knowing that we're not aware of, okay? And when I say knowing, I mean the subconscious mind knows everything, okay? And I don't mean just this idea that it's a computer. I mean that's how we access the deeper intuitive part of ourselves. Many people would call it the spirit or the soul, or, and people even call it God sometimes, I would call it your higher being or your higher self or whatever. And Bashar talks about the higher self in terms of it being able to see what's, standing up on the hill and being able to see what's ahead. And so it knows what's coming for you. So it goes, okay, do this. And it's sending you intuitive feelings all the time. But most of the time, we just ignore it. We just go away feelings. Because again, we've been trained that way. We've been trained to detach from what we feel and focus more on what needs to be done. My boss says I've got to do this, so I'm just going to forget everything, every impulse in my body, every part of my intuitive nature, and just do what needs to be done, with my cognitive mind, the conscious mind. Okay, so those intuitive feelings are so strong, and if we had a chance to develop them, we'd find that they get stronger and stronger, and that we can see what's happening in our lives so much easier. Okay, the feelings. Okay, so our feelings. We have our feelings that come through, of course, like, When you think about something, you can go, this is the right thing to do. But if you have a feeling, again, that's kind of close to the intuitive. It's like, it's stronger. Okay, our feelings are very, very important. We need to follow those feelings because they know where we're going. They know how things are going to work out. So when we deny our feelings, we're denying ourselves. Okay, automatic. Okay, so how many things can the subconscious mind do? It's regulating our pulse, our blood pressure, heartbeat. It's even regulating the breathing. It's regulating our healing. All these things that it's doing all the time that we are unaware of. Even our desires in terms of what we want to eat. The body's craving all these things. It's like all being communicated through the subconscious mind, and then we go, oh, I want that. And we think, yeah, well, my conscious mind just decided it wanted that. No, it's the subconscious mind that is really underneath all of this, and it's dictating so many things. Something happened to us when we were a child, and then the subconscious mind's like, no, don't go there because you were hurt. And so it does everything it can to protect you from things. Even though consciously you might go, oh, I want to do that, but it's the subconscious mind that's pulling you back. Okay, dreaming. Okay, also I want to say, sorry about automatic, is that if you have to do a task, like if, for example, if you have to play tennis, you would think you go out to the tennis court and you're doing it all consciously. But the reality is that it's all being done subconsciously. You learn to play tennis, when you're very young, and then it all gets stored. It goes from conscious to being subconscious in the subconscious mind. And then what you do consciously is very little. A pianist doesn't go out there and consciously play the piano. The pianist literally goes there and says, I'm going to play that song. And then it just happens. It happens automatically. If they have to actually think about it, they go, what key was I pressing again? They'll disrupt their whole flow. So the subconscious mind really does allow that flow to happen. Okay, but the conscious mind is always trying to do it better, like the little pawn in the front of the chess set. It can't. It's only got a little ability. Okay, it's only there as a pointer. Conscious mind is just there to go, let's do this now. And let's do that now. And it's helpful if the conscious mind is going to feed nice comments. And it's when the conscious mind starts thinking negatively, that's when the subconscious mind gets really stifled and our abilities that are naturally there start to be limited. Okay, dreaming. All right, so obviously the subconscious mind is very good at dreaming in the middle of the night. But also when we have feelings about things and inspiration that comes to us, this is a form of dreaming as well. And this information is not coming from the conscious mind, it's coming from our deeper intuitive nature, where we go, oh, inspiration, like if you're a musician or an artist or something, or any endeavor, you get those ideas from the intuitive side of us, the subconscious mind, the higher self, all of that sort of thing. The conscious mind is literally just like trying to process things. And obviously the subconscious mind, because it's connected to our intuitive nature and the higher self, all that sort of thing, anything spiritual you can imagine, subconscious mind is connected to. It is unlimited. And this is where life, I think, becomes very intangible. It becomes much more fluid when we consider the possibilities of the subconscious mind. And there have been cases where, do stage hypnosis and things like that, where people can be convinced. I had a friend of mine who participated in a stage show one time, and he was convinced that the hypnotist was invisible. And I said to him afterwards, I said, how did you believe that he was invisible? And he goes, it was like, he told me I couldn't see him, and so I wouldn't look at him. It was like that. It was like he was convinced that he couldn't look at him. And so the subconscious mind, because it was under the trance, conscious mind is kind of out of the way going along with it in a sense. The subconscious mind is like, you can't see him, and it just goes, okay. And it finds a way to make that true. As bizarre as that sounds, he was just like, I knew he was there, but I just couldn't quite focus on the concept of that guy being there. So it's like, the mind couldn't come up with a concept because the decision had been made at a deep level. He's not there. You can't see him. Okay, even though he knew in the back of his mind, oh, he's there, I know he's there, but I'm going to go along with it. And so we're always going along with things in the subconscious mind. Okay, but the conscious mind tries to think it's in control, but it's not. Okay, as I said, again, the conscious mind is only in control when we make a conscious effort to say, stop, go this way. It's only used as a pointer. Okay, and the subconscious mind knows how. If you have a problem, the best way to solve the problem, is to give up, to let it go. Because you might sit there and go, I've got to do something to fix this. It usually makes things worse. But if we just go, I'm not sure what to do. How do I fix this? I don't know. And then suddenly you get an answer. Oh, okay. Because it came through that intuitive subconscious nature. Okay, so it's really important that we understand those differences and recognize that we don't have to do things consciously